hearing this?
Anybody hear that?
How can we possibly have the slightest idea what to expect?
Well, we're back.
Hold on to your butts.
Welcome to the Jurassic Park Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Jost, and we're here to discuss all things Jurassic, including the movies, TV shows, music, toys, and more. In episode 436, Conor O'Keeffe from the wonderful DINO DNA segment returns to have a chat with me in the depths of Isla Sorna in our Site B segment. Now, it's been a while since we've been out to Site B, but I'm glad that Conor was able to join me out there to discuss his work on the podcast, what his version of fandom looks like, upcoming Mattel toys and Lego releases, and his recent trip out to Thailand, where he was lucky enough to come across some of the filming locations from Jurassic World Rebirth. We discuss all of that and if people would really get tired of dinosaurs. I don't buy it. So stick around to hear that awesome conversation. And as always, please check out our live streams over on YouTube discussing all of the latest Jurassic news from around the world, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. EST. I know I've been troubleshooting a lot of things over there recently, so be patient. We're going to get that up and running very shortly, but there will not be a live stream coming up this week. We'll be back next week, so stay tuned. And as always, you can call our voicemail line, 732-825-7763. Or you could email your voice memos to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com and let us know all of your thoughts and feelings on dinosaurs, Jurassic World Rebirth, toys, Lego, whatever the case may be. Please let us know, and I'll play them on an upcoming episode. But, everybody, it is time. So let's go ahead and traverse the shores of Isla Sorna, walk through that jungle, head out into the redwood forest, and, of course, have a chat with the delightful Conor O'Keeffe.
Thank God for Site B.
Site B?
Yes, Site B.
No force on earth or heaven could get me on that island.
Site B.
Don't worry here. I'm not making the same mistakes again.
Come on, okay, so there's another island with dinosaurs, no
Yes,
fences.
Site B.
And you want to send people in?
Yes.
A very few people.
Yes.
It's not a research expedition anymore. It's a rescue operation, and it's leaving right now.
You cannot land on this island.
This is Isla Sorna, Site B.
Yes.
We're on Isla Sorna, and we need to talk to the boat.
Site B.
No, the lady. Enough. Wrong frequency.
Finally on the show after years and years of, I feel like you've been very open to being like, hey, I'll record at whatever hour of the night or whenever, and now you're in a completely different place, and you're still willing. And like I was saying before we had to reset here, but like you've been a part of the show for years now, 17 plus episodes of your own, I think, or maybe 16 of your own, and then like some others, and then there's like, I think, were you in like Tom's audio drama and stuff like that? Were you a part of that? Because I feel like
yes. Yeah, I played like the most cowardly character he wrote, specifically for me, I think. But yeah.
Look, I think he does that on purpose. I think he loves to have us like screaming and running and dying in his things, you know? Tom.
Yeah. That's the way he treats his friends, so imagine how he treats his enemies.
But like, dude, it's so good because after all these years, like, I've been doing this since 2015 here on the podcast, and for that a period of time where you were not involved, I just was like, I'm just winging it. I don't really know anything about dinosaurs, so it was like, it's funny to have this show, the Jurassic Park Podcast, a movie series about dinosaurs, and then to be the one at the center of it who like, I can't really tell you much of anything. And to be that person, and then to have people expect you to be tip-top shape, when it comes to knowing all the dinosaur names and lore and, history and facts. And I'm just like, I like how they look in the movies. So
yeah, you movie fan, yeah. Oh, dude, like, I mean, Yeah, that's the really interesting thing about the Jurassic series is that you have like the movie side of it, which is like which draws everyone in, and then you've got the science side of it, which like a certain like niche part of the audience like drive down, and I'm certainly was part of that when I was a kid, like watching the first movie. I already liked dinosaurs, but it got me more into them and led me to do what I do now, like working in museums and education, working with paleontologists and talking about their research. So yeah, I thought it would be a really cool idea, and like it was, to be honest, it was something that came out of discussions with me and Tom. Is that I met Tom in person in 2018 when I was working at the Natural History Museum in London. He did a Jurassic World Evolution fan meetup, and I just kind of came along in my uniform and kind of surprised him. Uh, and I'm now living in Australia, but I last lived here about 6 years ago, and that was when I first started listening to Jurassic Park Podcast. I was working for like, I won't go into all the details, but to get a certain type of visa here, you have to go work on a farm. So I was doing long hours outside, building fences, like weeding, and I was like, I need podcasts. I need Jurassic content. So it was Jurassic Park Podcast, See Jurassic Right, and back then Collect Jurassic podcast as well.
Yeah.
That was just my day, all day, every day. So it was it's super cool to like, full circle moment. Here I am, we're chatting, and this whole journey with Jurassic Park Podcast started for me in Australia.
That's so crazy. I mean, we've always been like, I've always like prided myself on the fact that like this show reaches all around the world, and like, we've always had contributors from like literally just everywhere, and it's so cool. I love that it reaches everybody and reaches Australia, reaches the UK, the Netherlands, wherever, and it's I guess pun intended, or I don't know, unintended. It's universal in that way, right? Like it's something that like
Very good.
we all grew up liking dinosaurs, right? It was the easiest thing to do. We just liked them. Like, we loved them. We had like, I know I had stacks of books, and I would sit there and flip through them. I remember like, I probably got the books like literally on the other side of this wall still, but like there were books that I've maybe had like a laugh with like Stephen Ray Morris or so, but like when you flip through the books, there's like pictures that like looked like real dinosaurs, like they looked like they were alive, or like found like barely breathing in the desert or something. And I just remember being like so enamored with that, whatever that was in those books, and just being like, they're real, they're out there, like they're somebody found them, they're alive. And then to have something like Jurassic Park come along and just be so real, it took it to a new level, that love of dinosaurs, and then getting to move on to the toys and just play with them nonstop. That was my childhood, was starting with just dinosaur toys, books, my mom reading the novel, the Jurassic Park novel, the movies, then the toys. I was literally just watching tonight, it's like scrolling through like old video storage with my son, and I came across like 1993 Christmas of myself opening Jurassic Park toys, and it was so darn cool just to be like, that was me. I think 8 years old at that point, and I'm just like, Jurassic Park. This is like, oh, so cool. And then I literally, it's so special because I opened up. Sorry, this is me just talking. I'll let you talk in a second, but like I opened up a present that was like a little dinosaur bookshelf that my mom was like really excited to give me, and then I was like, hey, Lincoln, my son, I'm like, that's sitting right behind us. Like, it's still here, this dinosaur bookshelf. So it's just stuff like that has like lingered around forever and just been a part of my life forever. When you were growing up, like, what was that like for you? Because I always like to find out what people's like origin story is with dinosaurs. I know I've heard a lot about, I've heard you talk about like stuff like this a lot, but what was it like being a Jurassic Park fan specifically? Because that, I feel like, is more often than not, it's like a singular experience for a lot of people.
Yeah, it really takes over your life, doesn't it, Brad?
Mhm.
It happens
A
from
little
an
bit.
early age. So like, so for me, I've got an older sister, and she grew up with the hype of the first movie. Now, I wasn't born yet, much like Tom when the first movie came out, but I was around for the Lost World when I was pretty young, and I remember going into stores and seeing that, that sea of like kind of khaki green packaging with the Rex in the corner. Like
Mm.
even at like the budget stores, like in the UK, they're called like pound stretcher because like it's of dollars, it's pounds and stuff. They had like Lost World themed like plasters and stuff, and just like getting all of this stuff as like a really young kid, be like, oh, this is so cool, and it's dinosaurs, but it feels kind of edgy because there's like the hazard tape on it. And then like actually watching the first two movies on VHS, I remember like unwrapping those at a birthday. I think I probably was about 3 or 4 years old. My dad got them for me, and like definitely way too young, absolutely terrified but fascinated with these dinosaurs on the screen. They were so realistic and lifelike. And then another core memory of being a young Jurassic fan is sorting my dinosaur toys by if they had the JP logo on the leg or not. So like I would like put my JP toys in, like I knew at that age the marketing worked on me that they were premium and they'd have the logo and they were official. And I like would display them in like an empty box I got for another dinosaur toy that had like volcanoes on the back. And then all my other dinosaur toys would just be in like a bucket, basically. So like from an early age, I understood the quality of the brand. And then like JP3 came out when I was about 6 years old. So that was my first JP film in the cinema. And like that just blew my mind. Like I remember seeing the adverts for it on TV, like, oh my God, there's another one. And then like finally getting around to watching it and just seeing dinosaurs on the big screen, like in like realistic kind of settings. Because there'd been like animated films like the Disney dinosaur film, which is awesome. This is the first one on the big screen with like real dinosaurs. And yeah, that just blew my mind. I was obsessed with JP3 as a kid. Still am, but yeah, it was that kind of era of the sequels that really I lived through, and then inherited all the original JP stuff from my sister when she got older. So like I got all of like the vehicles and stuff, and I couldn't believe my luck.
Ah. It's always so interesting to hear like when people had their fandom kind of come to fruition, whether it was for me like the original Jurassic Park, or for so many people it's JP3, and I'm just like, oh man, that is when I fell off the train. And like
Yeah.
I do love it. Like I've grown so fond of it over the years, but yeah, it was a struggle for me. And the toys, like the fact that they were so different than the ones that came
They were
before it.
so
But you mentioned Disney's Dinosaur. Like I do like that movie. That was not one that I was like super into at the time, but like I've rewatched it a bunch, especially when my son was younger, and like we watched it all the time. And the score for that movie is fantastic. I still listen to that like quite often. And did you ever get the
yeah,
chance to
it's
to come to Florida and go on the dinosaur ride or no?
I didn't. I'm so annoyed. So especially because it's closed now. But yeah, I did have the lucky, really really lucky opportunity to go to Florida it was 2008. It was my first kind of big overseas holiday with my mum, and we went to specifically go to Islands of Adventure to experience the Jurassic
Mm.
Park River adventure and the whole land. Like between that and the LA park, I remember researching it so much beforehand, and I was like, we need to go to the Florida one because it's got the whole island of Jurassic Park. But because of that tunnel vision, we never went to Disney the entire time we were in Florida. I was just like Universal, Universal, Universal. Went on the JP ride so much, Back to the Future, Terminator 3D, all of these things. Like, but I never got around to going. I don't think I knew about the dinosaur ride. Otherwise, I probably would have pushed for that because that was such a huge part of my childhood as well. Like the McDonald's like Happy Meal toys. I remember collecting those, and like even the toys themselves were really good with like light up eyes and like roars. But yeah, I never got on the ride, which I'm so bummed about now, especially because it's gone now. It's so sad.
It's quite literally extinct. That's such a bummer. I am so upset about that. I was in the process of like writing a whole article and like stuff about that, like how Disney was really like the obviously the the company that like brought us animatronics in such a big way, and like how they were such like so spearheading like dinosaurs in their parks. And then now it's just like we're just gonna be an asteroid. We're gonna wipe them all out. They're gonna kill them off. They're gonna die. And I hate it. It hurts me deep inside. But at least we got Universal still doing dinosaur stuff. And even today, like literally today, as of this recording, which things, I don't know, things are changing at a rapid pace these days. We're just all trying to hurry to catch up, I think. But they opened up like this little like through the years kind of thing. I forget, through the eras or whatever, Jurassic World Through the Eras. And it's like, I was like, no press release or nothing. They just like, hey, here's some character walkarounds. Ian Malcolm, there's Hammond and Dr. Wu and Nedry and a bunch of vehicles and dinosaurs, little shows and stuff.
Yeah,
it looks pretty cool. Like I wish I could experience that.
And stuff, like it's all there.
Oh my god,
it's so cool.
JP3 stuff like crazy. I can't believe it.
Yeah, one of my good friends, who's also called Tom, I worked with him at the Natural History Museum in London. Just by chance, he was at the park to see all of this when it opened, because he's over there for like a whole different reason, but was like, oh, let me pop by the park.
Wow.
And was just there on the day that it was all going down. I was like, that is so cool. I'm so glad that he got to experience that. And I basically woke up to like tons of photos in my WhatsApp of just like all of this cool Jurassic like history on display, and I was like, oh man, I wish I could be there. But yeah, it looks awesome. I hope you manage to get out there, or people listening or watching along do, because it looks so cool.
I had texted Steven as soon as I saw it. I was like, I think this opened. You gotta go. Like, go now. I think he's like right around
it's crazy.
there. So.
Yeah, they love just kind of like springing these events and like announcements on us with no notice. We're so used to this by now. I feel like it's not even a surprise. Like it just happens now.
It's so not a surprise, and that is so unfortunate to us. Like I was talking about this with Tom the other day, that like so many other franchises, I don't know that you're missing out on stuff. Like we were talking about Marvel and Star Wars, and like Star Wars, that like Star Wars Celebration is going to be in 2 years or whatever, and you're like fully prepared. You're going to have to buy your tickets. When it's coming. Marvel, I don't know. Like I don't know that there's a lot of experiences that you're missing out on, other than like Comic-Con and stuff like that. But when Comic-Con is going to be. But Jurassic, it's like, oh, there's going to be an event for the most hardcore fans next Tuesday, and you're like, huh?
Yeah,
well, I can't get there.
Yeah, it's I know. And then it'll be like during the day, so like folks who, well, pretty much everyone who works can be like, cool, that looks nice. I wish I'd have been able to book the time off of work. Awesome.
Nope.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I'm sure people have seen, like in London, there has been like actually quite a lot of events, like way more than I ever thought there would be, maybe because they make these movies in the UK primarily now. But like last year there was like a Rebirth event, Evolution 2, like other bits and bobs. And yeah, it's like you find out about it like a week or two early, and then have to concoct some sort of reason like, oh, I can't come into work today for some odd reasons. Don't look at the news. It's nothing to do with that big Jurassic Park thing. No.
It's just an event right at the museum. I'm sorry. You might see me at. Yeah, it's at least you have Tom over there to help with a lot of those things, right? Like he's always there to be, spearheading things and get stuff moving. Yeah. So at least the UK has Tom. But yeah, what
yeah.
So like for you, when you're like you put on the show and you started listening to us, what was your like motivation to be like, hey, I want to produce content? Because I know, like, based off your social medias and stuff, you've been doing so much of your own content for so long. So was there something that like gave you that itch to want to be a part of obviously your career and everything, but like educating people in a different way?
Yeah, I mean, so like it all stems from like, essentially what I do for my career, which is like my passion, which is sharing knowledge about the natural world, prehistory or contemporary, with people and getting them enthusiastic and excited about wildlife and like conservation, paleontology, all sorts of things. And then it was like around that awesome time of 2018 when like I feel like the Jurassic World series was at its peak with Fallen Kingdom in terms of like events and marketing, games, the Mattel toy line. There was just so much going on, and just kind of listening to the podcast and then meeting Tom, kind of being like exposed to this whole world of the Jurassic Park fan community. Like I'm not, it wasn't new for me. Like I was on like the JP Legacy forums, the JP Toys forums, all of that stuff while the franchise was dead. You know, like I was there from all of that 14 years where we were waiting for a new movie, and just like being like a teenager and stuff, being like, when are they going to make JP4? But, and then so it was kind of all so pent up. And then like when I met Tom and he was like, oh, you should come on the podcast. And then we were talking about potential kind of things that I could do to contribute. It was just kind of came out of our conversation. Like that would be like the perfect bridge between what I do professionally and what I love the most outside of work in terms of like series and franchises, which is Jurassic Park, is bringing that kind of scientific explainer kind of side of things to the podcast, because I love the segments that you have on the show is so diverse. I'm loving the one currently with Caleb about the score. Like there's been so many cool segments over the years, but I felt like that was one that hadn't really been like touched upon. And yeah, it just seemed like a really cool idea. I was always obsessed with how the dinosaur designs kind of changed throughout the films, and how they're different to the real world ones. That was like so many of the questions I got in my early career at museums were around, oh, why is a velociraptor not big and scaly? Why is it like a little turkey thing? Or like, why is a T-Rex like covered in feathers or something like that? And I was like, people are genuinely interested in what these real world animals would have been like. So it's really fun to kind of look at where the production team have taken some like creative liberties, or maybe stuff they didn't actually know yet, and to kind of explore how those things differ. I always like those sorts of like before after kind of like, you know, makeover videos of like home renovations and stuff, and it's almost like that but with dinosaurs.
Yeah, dude, I love that. And I had this question. I was gonna bring it up later, but I might as well ask you now. So you talk about like people coming in like 2018, it's like peak, which actually is tangent from what I was just gonna say. I feel like that's happening again right now. Like there's so many things popping up right now that like I feel like I might have to edit this out because there might be an announcement by the time I get this posted. But like it feels like they're ramping up to something, and like something's bound to happen, because like it's is it coincidence that like, oh, there's all these toy reveals. Oh, Beyond the Gates is back, and there's a Universal event, and I feel like there's been tons of things, posters getting released, all kinds of stuff, kind of heading to a point right now. I wonder if that means like we're gonna get like an announcement or something around the corner. Did they think that they were gonna win the Oscar, and that maybe they would use that hype to kind of announce some project or something? I'm going to keep my ears peeled because I feel like it's going to happen any day now.
Yeah, surely we've got to get an announcement. Like, there's going to be another movie. But let's not beat around the bush. There's going to be another movie.
Of course.
Like, it's obvious. So the announcement's probably going to come soon, I imagine. And yeah, I think you're right. Like, there has been like a bit of buzz around the movie because of the Oscar nomination. And then, of course, we've got Jurassic World Evolution. They're probably gearing up for their Rebirth DLC announcement, which we know is coming from the investor call. So they're probably, let's hope that they have coordinated all of this stuff so it comes as like a cool big drop of like, we are now firmly in the new, like the third trilogy era. And like, I always feel like the second film of a trilogy is always at the peak, because like that's what we got for Fallen Kingdom. The Lost World got so much marketing after JP1. So I'm hoping that we have that for the Rebirth sequel, is like, that's when everything comes together, you know, for this part of the franchise. So yeah, it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, 2018, you're right. Like that peak, and the Lost World too, with all of the incredible marketing. Like 2018, still feel like was the biggest marketing push for like one of these Jurassic movies.
Yeah.
It feels unmatched in what they were able to do back then, and I love that time
Yeah.
period. That was so much fun, so simple back then.
Yeah.
2018.
It feels like a lifetime ago now.
It
But
it
yeah,
really
like
does.
there was just so much happening. There was so much. Like there was like even like it's now more common since the Minions started filming the series in the UK. Actually, no, Fallen Kingdom was, but there was like they even like redecoed like a whole major station in London with like Jurassic World like kind of banners, and there was like a
Mhm.
T-Rex and a gyrosphere, and it's just stuff that like being a fan, like I was just saying, like for us that were there during like the Dead period, like to explain to us back then, oh, there's in about 10 years time, Jurassic's going to be so big that you're going to just walk past Jurassic T-Rex statues on your way to work. That would have been insane, and yet there we were.
The amount of like odd things they've had, like specifically out in the UK, whether it was like statues and stuff like that. They had that giant Jeff Goldblum or
The
something,
big
right? Wasn't
Goldblum.
there like was there something with the Mosasaurus like out in a
Yeah,
river or something? Like there's so much
yeah,
weird stuff that happens out there. So like, man, that's got to be cool. There's nothing happens here where I am.
yeah. I think London is lucky because it's such like a hub for the world. Like so many people,
Yeah.
like tourists come to London, so many businesses have passed through. So like it's like a really good place to do these kinds of big marketing events. So yeah, I don't live in London anymore,
I
but we'll
know.
see what it's like down here in Australia.
Well, I mean, Australia needs its own love too. I feel like there's been a handful of things that have happened recently in Australia too. So like, you got a lot to look
Yeah,
out
like
for, I
Jaden's
think.
been going to stuff and like organizing things and like being kept in the loop. So that's really exciting to see because I know that like I've heard him like very understandably complaining on in general like Australia traditionally is it's at the other side of the world, so it's really hard to get stuff out here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it looks like things might be turning around.
So yeah, getting stuff out there. Actually, I'm all over the place, but I was gonna ask you this question because we were talking about museums and stuff. But I'll pause on that. But we were talking about getting stuff out there. I feel like you've been taking so many pictures of toys, Mattel stuff, Lego stuff. Um, which one of those do you have like a favorite? Do you like the Mattel stuff more? Do you like Lego stuff more?
Oh,
'Cause, like,
dude.
I don't I like Lego a ton. Like, I've got a massive Lego collection wall, but
Yeah.
not Jurassic necessarily, not a ton of Jurassic.
Mm. Yeah, so like it's I go through phases of which ones I prefer. Like Lego is like the OG toy for me. Like I've had Lego for my entire life. I love the way it works and the way it looks. And once again, it's that whole kind of thing of like you're wanting something for so long and then 1,000 sets come at once. Growing up playing with the Kenner toys, the vehicles, the humans, and all of the obscure dinosaurs. I was always obsessed with the Kenner toys of the creatures that weren't in the films, like the Dimetrodon or like all of the unreleased stuff, like this the old Scutosaurus, like the Utahraptor. I love that stuff, and the fact that Mattel's gone all in on like obscure dinosaur species, and then we got the Hammond collection, which is like the line that I've been like kind of hoping for since 2001 basically. It's really hard to say. Like, I like them both equally, but I think in terms of what's easier to get hold of and can take up less space, it's got to go to Lego because you can break it down if you need to.
Oh, yeah, that's very true, that's very true. You mentioned, some of those new sets, so I wanna take a look at them. I don't know if we're gonna use this video or not because it's been all over the place, but hey, there's some crazy ones that have been announced. I actually did see these ahead of time at New York Toy Fair, and
Ooh.
I knew there would be some uproar on some of these items, but like the like brick build like Spinosaurus, I'm fine with it. Like it's not like anything
Yeah,
crazy, but I know people are like struggling with that kind of like brick built dinosaur, and but it looks like similar to like what that T-Rex looked like from the the Rex Breakout set. I feel like was that the one,
Yeah.
or there was also like I think there was a brick built one with the
diorama
fence.
one with the fence.
Yeah. And then there's a few others like this. I guess that's Kayla, right? And then there's like Owen and
Yeah, new outfit.
Yeah. So interesting, like compilations here, I guess. Like the Owen with a chopper, I guess, and a pteranodon, and Kayla and some raptors. But this truck, I'm like, why they're just re-releasing this truck? Because I have that truck right here. It's like this same exact truck.
Yeah.
Like I just found that funny. So they just changed some of the colors up, but literally the same truck. And then like that like mini T-Rex, the baby T-Rex looks silly. That's a funny one. But
it does. It's a reused piece from another series, I think.
Oh, is
it's
it?
from
Okay.
Marvel. They had like Marvel dinosaur characters, yeah.
Oh, okay. But I do like, Grant and Billy there. I don't know. I don't remember that scene, but like, hey, I'm for it.
That's like Grant on a motorbike is oddly one of the most iconic JP3 things, despite it never happening. Like the amount of times that's happened, I think it's because it was in an early story draft. It was, on Stuck About It. But like there was a set in 2001, which was Grant on a motorbike. There was a Game Boy Advance game called Island Attack, where there's a mission where you're Grant on a motorbike. And so I feel like this is just like a real deep cut kind of like, they're like, we need to do a vehicle. There aren't any vehicles. Put them on a bike. That's what people want.
And yeah, you mentioned I think Jerry Harding is in this Triceratops set, which is a fantastic video, by the way. Like putting all these like little tiny button pieces there and just digging out the Stegosaurus, the Triceratops fossil. That's super cool. And I know people are like, oh, I can't believe Jerry Harding is like locked behind this set, but like at least it's not the same price point as that massive T-Rex one, which was like $250 or something like that. I think this one's a bit less, isn't it? Like $100 or something like that. So not as bad of a set. So I'll try to pick that one up.
Agreed. I think so. Yeah, I really like these fossil sets, and I'm interested to see because they did the T-Rex skull, then the T-Rex whole skeleton, Triceratops skull, now the whole skeleton. I'd be interested to see if they branch out and do like a raptor or something. That would be really cool. But yeah, I just to comment on this video as well. I love the marketing that they've done for this and the Jeep. Like they've put a lot of effort into these videos to make them really nostalgic, and also just on the Jerry Harding. Like I totally get I agree with locking like exclusive figures into expensive sets. It's something that Lego does a lot with Star Wars. I do collect like Lego Star Wars, and that's a really tricky one. Is that they'll put like really high in demand figures in like the biggest sets, and it's obvious why they do that. And so yeah, with Jerry Harding, it's sad that that's the case, but equally, I'm happy it's not like a more kind of necessary character. Like we haven't got Lego Gennaro yet, and if they put Gennaro in a really expensive set, then I'd be really mad.
Yeah. It's like that. What was that one? I think Ellie Sattler was from Dominion. I think she was in like a 3-pack or something, right? Wasn't it like a 3-pack of like dinos?
It was like Rex, Giga, and Therizinosaurus pack with the Ellie figure, and it was just like, come on, guys.
Yeah, it was too much. I was like, I already have the Therizinosaurus. I didn't want that Giga. And I think it was like whatever the Rex or whatever the other one was. Like I was like, I don't need all this, so never ended up getting that one.
Yeah.
And it's always harder to get the humans for Jurassic these days. But you know what? Yeah. I know the Jeep community is a little upset about some of the choices made on some of like the Lego and the new one. Did you see the latest Jeep that got announced?
I did.
Or I don't even know where it was revealed. I have no idea. But
yeah,
Jurassic
the
has
collection one. Yeah. Shout out. I only took a little look at it. I liked that. Oh, there it is. So like, obviously, it's a lot more detailed than the ones they've released before, and it's what I love is that it's modular. Like you can customize it to be the different Jeeps from the movie. But I think, I've seen that people are upset, and I understand that the numbers are probably not exchangeable. So you're going to have Nedry's Jeep or something with the wrong number, despite having the canvas top and stuff. And yeah, I understand where it's coming from for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder like how much you can change. Like if you could change the numbers in some way, just throw a sticker over it or something. But like,
Hmm.
probably not. But hey, you know what? This is the kind of stuff that like doesn't bother me with dinosaurs. Like I don't care. Like I
Yeah,
think they mostly look cool. Like I
I
don't
don't
really
care.
care. So this I'm like I don't care. Like the only thing I care about is like I already have 40,000 Jeeps. I feel like at this point.
Yeah,
I'm like I don't there's more two more? Like what am I going to do with two
yeah.
more?
Well, the thing is, this has come at such a good time for me because having just moved around the world, I had to cut down on a few things in my
Mm,
collection. So all of the old Mattel Jeeps, they had to go. I donated
yeah.
them to like a local toy charity. So now I'm seeing, oh wait, there's a Jeep that does everything. It's going to take up way less space, and you get all the different parts that you can use when you want. Hell yeah! So this is I'm excited by this because I have no Jeeps currently, and this Jeep ticks like all of the boxes, and I'm not as bothered by the numbers, but I
Yeah.
understand for like vehicle heads, like that's going to be a big thing for them.
For sure. Yeah. But we've got a bunch of dinosaurs too that I found
Yeah.
pretty interesting. Which one of the batch here like is your favorite one that has
Oh, dude,
been revealed
this
so
is such a
far?
weird batch.
I know,
This is
right?
like the most. This is like the oddest lineup from Hammond Collection yet. It just feels like it's like it feels like it should be a full Rebirth range, but then you've got stuff like the Scorpius and the Indominus. It almost makes it
Mhm.
feel like they've gone for like a weird kind of hybrid theme, which is what Captives is doing this year.
Mm.
So my favorite out of this lineup, this is so controversial, and I know he's gonna flame me for this, but it's the Dilophosaurus.
Oh.
It's just because I think that's such a cool sculpt that they did for this. The new deco, yeah, it's not massively accurate to Rebirth, but that frill piece is gorgeous. And I think this would display and like would pose really nicely in pictures alongside the existing Dilo as like a male and a female because it's different enough while still having the same sort of like shape and plan that it feels like it fits really nicely with it in like a toy sense. I know that's really controversial though, so my safe answer would probably be the Scorpius Rex.
Look, I'm proud. You picked one that the other night on the stream I was just like I like it. It looks cool. I think I'm not gonna pick it up, but
Yeah,
it looks cool. And I also was like, I don't know if it's the Rebirth one exactly. It doesn't really look like it to me, but I'd have to go back and compare.
yeah.
But it does look very cool.
It's
Like
got the Rebirth
I
frill.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look pretty cool.
The one that I was intrigued to see what they were going to do with Hypsilophodon because like throughout the whole Hammond collection, it's been really. I guess at first it was really odd to me that they were doing dinosaurs that weren't from the films before they finished the film dinosaurs. But I
Mhm.
kind of understand they want to space them out over the years. And obviously, this is like a novel dinosaur, and I was a bit disappointed that it looks to be the same as the Dryosaurus, apart from the head, which is a shame because even though they're similar dinosaurs, I think they could have done something really cool here, while still fulfilling like a novel dinosaur.
Mm.
So yeah, and then I think with the Mutodon as well, just to switch to that one, it's really surprising how similar it looks to the mainline one, especially knowing that they have access to the ILM models. This one seems to be one of the most off-model ones we've got, which is also mad because I've got right in front of me. I'll hold up to the camera. This is the Captives Mutodon that just came out, so obviously very different scale and stuff. But this is directly based on the ILM render that they did. It's not going to focus. But yeah, it's directly based on the render with like the scale and stuff all intact, and like the coloration is probably more accurate than the Hammond collection one. So
Yeah.
I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, it kind of it's giving me like 1998 Godzilla, like something about it,
Yeah,
whether it's Godzilla or the smaller Godzillas, like I don't know, like it's not
yeah,
exactly, and I guess Godzilla would check out since it was Gareth Edwards and that was a different Godzilla, but sure, why not? Um,
yeah.
I'll probably pick this one up just because like it'll be cool to have, but yeah, it does look a little off, but but you mentioned the Scorpius, and I'm like
It's cool that
I
it comes with the wings.
yeah, which wing? I feel like I don't want to I don't want to display it with the long wings, really. I don't think. But I
Hmm.
did say like, well, this is
You
why
could
you get
hang one.
two. You get two.
Yeah, yeah,
So helping
yeah.
Mattel out one toy at a time. But the Scorpius is one that I'm like, I can't believe that they're still making Scorpius Rex, and like I love it. So as for yourself, as somebody who's into real creatures, like, do you like this one?
Yeah.
Do you think this one looks cool? Was it fun to watch in the show? Because it's one of my favorite things that I think they've done during that entire Jurassic World era. Like, it's just, I love it.
Yeah, agreed. I think I really liked the way the Scorpius Rex was handled and used in the show. I think the Scorpius Rex kind of delivered on what the pitch for the Indoraptor was. So, like, I was all in with the Indominus Rex, like that being the first hybrid in the series after that big long gap. I was like reticent, but then I really liked how they handled it. The Indoraptor kind of felt like more of the same, and like they spoke about like, oh, it's got like echolocation, and it's like the first male dinosaur in a franchise, which also we know is not right. But they were like hyping it up as if it was something different, and then it just kind of ran around screaming and smashing through things. I love that the Scorpius actually had like the venom aspect to it. It was sneaky. It was, you can tell that it's a freak of nature. Like they went all in on showing that this is like an experiment gone wrong. So I think this action figure is actually really good, and I think it speaks to the fact that the Scorpius, despite being from like one series of the animated show, is like it's like a fan favorite dinosaur, and I totally understand why. It's just got a really unique look and silhouette, and it is though surprising that they did this before the Indoraptor. Like that is kind of nuts. It just shows how popular it is. I think the accessory for the mouth is a little bit funny. Like I know what they were going for, but I don't know. It just looks a bit odd to me.
Sure. I wonder, like, in the entire canon of everything, why was this on Nublar and not Il Saint Hubert? Like, what was it doing there? Why?
Look, just sweep it under the rug.
Just forget about that. I can't talk about it. Like, just no, because like this is exactly like the kind of thing you would expect to see on that island. Like it's the perfect creation for that island.
In.
Yeah.
Maybe
there are some. Like, maybe.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, I think we all kind of know and have actually probably either rejected or accepted by this point that Al Saint Hubert just kind of messes with everything quite a lot. But yeah, you're absolutely right. This guy should have been in that lab.
We'll get there for sure. Talk about that. But what else we got? We're on the hybrids there, so let's talk about the Indominus. I know a lot of people are disappointed with the way that this one looks. I keep seeing the conversation. I don't care. I think it looks fine. It's mostly color issues. I feel like some stubbiness, I guess, that people are saying, but like the color, I guess the darkness is really turning people off of this thing. But I don't know. I feel like I brought up a bunch of pictures the other day on a stream, and I'm like, I don't know. It's always dark in that movie, and it like the whole Miss Ronnie saying like you didn't tell me it was white. I never thought it looked white in that movie, so I don't really know what color we're supposed to be thinking that it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like in the movie. It's definitely not like white, and I think that that's something that people latch onto. I understand the thing with the color. I kind of interpret it as it's covered in dirt, like that kind of color that you're seeing there, the brownish kind of tan on the underside. That's dirt, like stomping around and stuff. And I think the color looks a lot like how it does in Jurassic World Evolution 2, which we know from the Ceratosaurus. Like the Mattel team like to reference that game, which is cool because it's a great game. But they like to reference that game for models, and I can kind of see what's happening here in regards to that being the source. I get like for like Indominus fans, like this is the opportunity. Like Spino fans ate so well last year with their with that Hammond collection. I don't know if you listen to Jaden on In General where he does the Spino stock market update, but I missed out on the early buys and I'm not paying $400 for one now. So, but yeah. This guy, I think for me, the thing that feels a bit off is, and where I do agree with people, is the head, because they've shown on their previous mainline Indominus that they can get the head 100% accurate, and this one just feels a little bit off. It's not far off enough that I think it would kind of affect how it looks in a lineup with other figures, but like, yeah, I get it for like Indominus fans. For me personally, I probably wouldn't be going after this figure because like I tend to like collecting things from the original trilogy and then some designs I like from the sequels. But yeah, it's a tough one doing such an iconic dinosaur. Like, you're gonna upset some people. I know people didn't like the first Hammond collection T-Rex. Their feet were big and all of like the glass eye, and yeah, there's always going to be issues. But I'd be with this one. I think let's wait to see it in person, because these renders are normally accurate, but they can never give you a true sense of what the figure actually looks like in hand.
Yeah, I was talking to Mattel at Toy Fair, and they were saying how like they, wanted to get away from the glass eye and everything because while it looked cool, it like wasn't photographing well. I'm sure you've had problems like that before, like with trying to get any
I
of those
always
things
edit
to
them in
photograph.
post. Yeah.
But let's talk about this one here because this one I think is really cool. I can't imagine it's a true one-to-one, but it's probably close enough.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this because like this is like a first of its kind. We can't really get a whole lot of this kind of thing. Maybe a compy or something, but like it's unique and I kind of like it. I'm gonna throw it in a backpack and just carry it around everywhere.
I think it's pretty cool. I love the Dolores merch that's come out. Like, I know there's been like a little animatronic one, like tons of plushies. This feels like a nice like option for those who want something a bit more kind of like, I was gonna say professional, but like display worthy. Like, I think it's like they've really captured like the Aqualops here, and I've been wanting them to have like a Microceratops or Microceratus kind of thing since Jurassic World, and it was on the website. So I'm so pleased. Like, we actually got that in Dominion, but now we've got like so much merch for like a very very close looking animal. Like Aqualops is quite similar to Microceratus, so like it's really cool that they've gone all in on Dolores, and I really hope
Yeah.
that kind of continues and like the character's popular. Once again, I don't think this would be one for me because I'm trying to focus on not getting massive things, and this probably is going to be as big as like the Brack, just without the neck. But it's super cool. Like, I love
Yeah.
the idea that, like you said, you just put this in a backpack and just walk around with it.
It'll be the perfect figure for like a convention or something like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I like it. Yeah, I'm excited to see this one in stores, but yeah, I think they're, the toys can be hit or miss these days, but I think, there's still some fun stuff in there. And I'm excited to see, what else they come up with. I wish there would be more humans, especially if they're doing, a
Yeah.
Hammond collection Jeep, but like we need some more humans. Like I know we've got a
We need people
handful.
to go in there.
We need more. Yeah, we need
Yeah.
more. But you know what? Hey, at least we're kind of blessed that we've been getting toys since 2018. A lot of 2018
Yeah.
talk today,
Like
but
every
like
year.
every year, just every day, it feels like there's just so much stuff. So yeah, we're pretty set, I think, for a long time here. But I want to talk about Rebirth. I want to talk about your trips and everything. But yeah, let's talk. First, for Rebirth, I want to get into this with you because this is what I was going to talk about before when you were talking about museums, 2018, things being at a peak. The movies, Jurassic World and Rebirth kind of came back around on this idea that nobody cares about dinosaurs anymore. They're not popular.
Yeah.
Like, what is your take on that? Because I feel like it was not really believable for me back in 2015 with Jurassic World. The park was open for 10 years at that point. People don't care about dinosaurs anymore. Yet that park is completely filled, and I'm sure there was, maybe a lower attendance or
Yeah.
something. But like, they needed something. Which okay, that's the idea that like they need a new attraction at a theme park checks out. Like I get
Yeah.
that fully works. But
Yeah.
but the idea that people don't care about dinosaurs, that kids would, I don't know, kids are, I guess will be kids, but like and not pay attention to stuff, but like they'll just be so used to that kind of presence in the world, I guess. But in 20 whatever the heck year Rebirth takes place, I don't even know, but like 5
Yeah.
years
Who knows?
after, 17 years ago, 20, I don't know, but like but like whenever that takes place, Jonathan Bailey's like really sad and working in his museum, and nobody's coming anymore, so they're cleaning it all up. Did you buy that? What's your take on all of that?
It's complete BS, basically, to put it in a PG way. Like, it's crazy. So the thing about in the 2015 movie, when they say no one's interested in dinosaurs, that's Claire saying that as a pitch to investors. it's obviously not presented in the actual movie. Like, as you said, there's tons of families at Jurassic World. She even says like guest satisfaction is in like the low 90s or whatever. Like, the dinosaurs are obviously still popular in that world. That was like a sales tactic in the movie. For them to now go take that and run with that is bizarre to me. It almost feels like an admission from the studio or something, being like, oh god, we got to make another Jurassic movie. No one cares about dinosaurs. Because judging by how much these movies make, the fact that there's been 6 multi-million-dollar blockbuster documentaries in the past 3 years about dinosaurs, the fact that the museums around the world get busier and busier every year, and the number one attraction people want to see are dinosaurs. Dinosaurs have been popular since they were first kind of discovered and named in the 1800s, since Gertie the Dinosaur was one of the first like animated films, since Arthur Conan Doyle's The Lost World, since Jurassic Park. Dinosaurs are intergenerational. People care about dinosaurs deeply. Us, a great example of that. But people around the world are fascinated with dinosaurs. The idea that within 10 years, 20 years of dinosaurs being brought back from extinction, people would not care, to the extent that people are driving past a dying, well, it's an Apatosaurus, but they also call it a Brontosaurus and a Brachiosaurus in the same scene. People driving past that and saying, oh, I wish it was dead, is crazy to me. And I couldn't believe that was being brought back as one of the kind of ideas to start off the story there, and also for no reason. Like, there was no call for that being part of the film. Like, you could still have the whole thing. I mean, we could talk about it, the whole thing of all the dinosaurs dying and people people caring about it. Or what the more realistic thing is that we are currently in a mass extinction event caused by human beings. People care. It's just not something you can act on every day. It's something that you watch on the news and you do what you can. But most people can't go to an island to look after tigers or whatever, so they're not going to do it for dinosaurs. You don't need to have that be a reason in the movie. It was, yeah, as you can see, I got quite animated about it.
I love that. I'm so glad that there's other people out in this world that are just as passionate about these specific moments that like just don't make any logical sense. And it's, to me, it's almost like David Koepp like didn't watch Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom to really, I don't know, like notice that that's what those stories were about. It's like we didn't need to really retread that. And like you said, you could have done this entire story without that plot point. And even Fallen Kingdom was about like, you know, the morality of letting dinosaurs die off and just like, should we just let them die or what? Like you could still have this kind of story where you have to go save lives and go to an island and all of that. And still, you could still even have like that Brontosaurus, Brachiosaurus, whatever scene, Apatosaurus scene in the beginning of the movie, and just like refocus it in a way of like, oh, we just got to get this guy out of here. And it's like, people are numb to it. Like you mentioned the news and stuff. It's like, yes, we become numb to like everything because it's a daily grind trying to deal with it all. But yeah, I think if dinosaurs were still out there, I would absolutely, you know, I think like a decent point of view in this movie of Rebirth is Isabella's point of view, where like there's a point in the movie where she's like, I hate those things, like they're annoying or whatever. Like, so I could understand that point of view where like you grow up and you're like, oh, these things are such an annoyance, I don't like them, like I wish they were not here. Like, I could understand that, I guess, but like I don't know, but like it's just so wild that like they make museums like the scapegoat, and like it's just like, nah, nobody's gonna care about these things because they're real and they're out there for real. Nobody wants to see the fossils anymore.
It's crazy, like the scene of him like, oh my god, the museum's shutting us down because no one wants to come. Well, and look, I know it's a movie, so I'm not going to get too far into it, but that's not how museums work. These things are planned months in advance. So, but other than that, the idea that dinosaurs are out in the world, and then the movie's trying to tell us people aren't interested in museums that they've been interested in historically, or the living dinosaurs. So what? Like, dinosaurs coming back have basically nullified the public's preference for dinosaurs across all boards. Like, I guess the only way you could kind of excuse it is like there have been so many horrible atrocities committed by these dinosaurs that has been like spun by the news media or something in a Jurassic World universe that has turned the entire world against dinosaurs. And I don't think that's happening.
I don't want that movie. Like, we don't need it. Let's just, that's why we skip over those 5 years or whatever it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong with that world, but I don't know if it's worse than ours, but it's not a hospitable place, I guess. And
Hey,
it's
there's
a shame.
dinosaurs there, so it's better in some ways.
Yeah, there's at least dinosaurs in that world. But yeah, I feel like there's a lot that we could go into with Rebirth, but like, how are you feeling like these days? Because I said it with my recording with Caleb that like analyzing the score really helped me kind of sort of forget about a lot of those issues, right? Like, I still bringing them up, but like, I feel like it's made me like appreciate the movie on a different level, and I've come into it and watched it a bunch of times now that like I'm like, wow, I really dig some of these different aspects now in a way that I didn't when I first saw it. And I remember that feeling when I first saw it of like, oh man, kind of heartbroken over what I just saw. I didn't really care for it. I don't know where you started versus where you are now, but like, how are you feeling about the movie these days?
Yeah, so I mean, I spoke with Stephen Ray Morris on See Jurassic Right about this as well. So I saw it 4 times in the cinema, and I kind of started out in a similar sort of position as you, where because of all the hype and the idea we're coming back to the island and everything, there were some great scenes, but overall I was kind of like, for me, there were some major kind of errors and things that I didn't like in the first 30 minutes that kind of soured the rest of the movie experience for me. So like, I'm talking about things like what we've just discussed. I'm talking about the weird timeline stuff, the Snickers wrapper. And then for me, like, and I know this is, once again, it's a movie, I shouldn't take it so personally, but the fact that the one paleontologist character, who's fantastic and my favorite character, Jonathan Bailey, Dr. Henry Loomis, but the amount of stuff he says, which is just straight up wrong in the first 30 minutes about dinosaurs, is so heartbreaking, because so far in these movies, they've done a really good job of, even if they don't address an animal, they still distinguish between, you know, what's a dinosaur and what's not a dinosaur, and he gets it wrong every single time. I was rewatching it this morning, actually. There's a bit where he says we need a sea-dwelling, land, and an avian dinosaur. Avian means birds. That's a real type of dinosaur. A pterosaur is not an avian dinosaur. Anyway, regardless of that. However, like yourself, actually listening to your series with Caleb, and then also listening to interviews that like folks like Roland has done with Matthew Clark, the graphic designer, who did so much incredible work on that movie in terms of world building and like so much passion and care into how Ile Saint-Hubert looks. Like, watching the film again on streaming, being able to take my time and pause during scenes and stuff, I think, yeah, I've definitely come around to it as like, it's one of the, it really does feel like Jurassic Park 4 in a lot of ways. It really does feel like Kep dug up a script from 2004, like fix it up a bit, and here we go. Like, it feels very much in keeping with both trilogies in a nice way. I still find the D-Rex and Mutadons to be a big disappointment in terms of, I'm not against their inclusion. It's the way in which they just kind of stomp into the movie, are unexplained. Like, I liked that in early interviews, Gareth was saying, oh, you're going to feel sorry for this. It's going to be like a Frankenstein's monster. None of that made it into the movie. They're just these horrible creatures that they may as well just be normal dinosaurs. They're not used in fun or interesting ways, or they're not portrayed to be genetic freaks in the ways that the Scorpius Rex is or the Indominus is. And for me, that's where the movie, it's the first 30 minutes, which is full of like these little things that annoy me. Then a great movie which has the mosasaur scenes, the river rapid scenes, the Quet scene, the Titanosaur scene, a great middle part, and then the end. Again, I love the worker village. It feels so cool and Lost World-like with the steam, but then the raptors got cut, and then we got the Mutadons that they just don't do something functionally different from raptors that justifies them being there. They can fly, but do they fly and it serves the plot in any way? No, they just fly into the scene. Like, if they carried a character, or if like characters were on buildings, it would have been cool seeing them chase people like in a way a raptor couldn't, but they weren't doing that. So for me, it's I really enjoy it as like a JP4 style, like Jurassic Park 3 kind of sequel. Like it's a roller coaster ride. It's back on a cool island. We've got some really cool dinosaur encounters that deliver on the kind of thrills and stuff. But yeah, I think it's those little bits like the paleo stuff and the inclusion of the mutants where I think it could have just a little bit of tweaking and it could have been really, really good.
Yeah. I feel like they needed like one more character to just kill off at the end of the movie, like with the
Yeah.
mutadons, like you just mentioned, carry somebody away. Like that would have been a really cool sequence to like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be anything crazy. Just like pick them up and carry them away, and they're just doing the same thing that they did Duncan or whoever, whatever their other names were, Nina.
Yeah.
I don't know. But they had so many people that they did kill off anyway. But one more would have gone a long way, I think. But
Oh, we
yeah,
needed more red shirts. I'm
yeah,
always down for like war folks just getting eaten in inventive ways. That's why the Lost World's one of my favorites because we
yeah,
get like the compy scene, we get the Rex in the waterfall, we get so many cool, inventive new ways of people being eaten by
yep.
dinosaurs. Which, come on, it's a key reason we watch these movies.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I feel like that would have gone a long way. But hey, I mean, I personally like the stuff, but like you're absolutely not wrong about like the ending and things just kind of coming into the movie and just going unexplained. Like, yeah, I think a better movie would have had explanations and stuff. But as far as what we're presented
Yeah.
with, I do really like all of that stuff. It's just the canon stuff on the base level that like rubs me the wrong way. But what
Yeah.
I'm seeing visually and I just love it. It like all looks so good, and I'm
Yeah.
starting to really click with the comedy of it, and the characters
Hmm.
I really like. And yeah, at first I was struggling with Jonathan Bailey, to be honest. Like I guess I had maybe watched Wicked too many times. I don't know. Like I had expected
Why is this
something
guy not
else.
made of straw?
Yeah. So something about it just like was rubbing me the wrong way, but now I'm like getting it, and yeah, even, I think I said it in I don't know if it's the first episode or second episode that I released, but like there's a cue that's not in the movie that I think if it was included in the movie, it would have like given me a little like lighthearted sense to these characters in a way that I
Hmm.
didn't get from the
Yeah.
movie. So I
That was
mean,
on the
who
boat.
knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the boat. Yeah, it was like the whole the dart sequence. Like there was like a nice like little not
Yeah.
much of a score moment, but like it really added to the lightheartedness of that sequence. But yeah,
Mm.
I think it's a good movie, and I'm liking it more as time goes on. So that's where I stand. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's tough though. If especially for somebody like you who's really focused on like what somebody like Jonathan Bailey would say, like that's got to be a struggle because
Oh man.
that's hard. That's
Oh
heartbreaking.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, apart from that stuff, I thought the comedy stuff, apart from the mints, I guess, really worked for me with his character
Mince, yeah.
because he's kind of like the bumbling scientist, which is a trope. But yeah, I agree. Like at first, I was kind of thrown off by how kind of informal and jokey Scarlett's character was because she's like a
Mhm.
hardened mercenary, but kind of doesn't act like one. But I understand she's the main character of like a big blockbuster. She's got to be quippy and likable. That's movies now. Uh, but
Mhm.
I quite liked the human cast overall. I think all the stuff on the boat is the best part of the film. From the moment they meet in the bar through to the Delgados being knocked off their boat to the rescue mission to them beaching. That's my favorite part of the movie because that also delivers on the whole thing of having the mosasaur actually part of the story. Like, I can't
Mhm.
believe we've got 3 Jurassic World films featuring mosasaurs where the main characters never interacted with it. you know?
Yeah. It got a lot of focus in like in Camp Cretaceous, I think, right? And like and we've seen it.
Yeah,
It's had such a massive presence, but like when you think about it, it really
yeah,
hasn't done anything. Like and hey, is it the same one?
yeah.
I don't know. But like it's,
Oh, who
it's
knows?
so disappointing that we've never really gotten a lot, but this movie paid off, and I think like those three
Yeah,
moments
for sure.
specifically, the boat, the Ket scene, which I love that scene. It is so cool. The sound design
Yeah.
there, the sound design with the
Oh, with
Titanosaurs.
the temple as well.
Yeah,
Oh,
everything is so good in those moments. Whether it's accurate or not, I don't know. But like I just like it. I don't. Does anybody know? I have no idea. But like, it just to me, from a sound design perspective, it sounds awesome. Titanosaurus specifically,
yeah.
just because it's like so alien and unearthly.
Yeah.
It's like it's interesting in that way.
Yeah, no, I think that it's been really cool listening to your series with Caleb, because it's also on that note about sound design. The soundtrack for this film is actually really, really good. Like, it fully feels like a Jurassic Park film to me, and I know you were talking about it with Caleb as well. Like, Giacchino's scores were really good as well, but what Desplat has done is, like, it really feels so in keeping with the original trilogy. And like, you could listen to all four of those soundtracks end on end. Actually, no, you could drop Don Davis, put this one in there, and it feels more cohesive with JP1 and The Lost World. It's that good. And that's not to take away from some of the amazing work Giacchino did, but yeah, it's really good.
I know, that's what I was like saying in that episode. I'm like, I feel bad saying this because like I love all of that work, but like there's something about this one that like it's clicking, even though I still probably would pick Giacchino's scores over this one. It's just something about it. It just has that little something that I really like. But yeah, it's a wild movie, and I'm interested to see where it goes. I mean, what would you want to see? I guess if it was, because we've got Dolores out there on a boat. We've got, you mentioned these dinosaurs that we've never had any explanation for, still out there on that island. Like, what's your ideal scenario? Do you stick with the characters, like continuing from where we left them? Do you skip ahead another 3, 4, 5 years, whatever? Like, what do you think? Like, I there's so many routes you could go, and they all sound plausible. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this is, to be honest, I think from my end, this feels like the hardest part the franchise has been in, because like there was a very logical route from Jurassic World onwards, and then Fallen Kingdom set up the next one directly. And then of course this one kind of closed off what Dominion provided, which I know Tom is especially mad about and still is. And I understand because there was an opportunity to tell all sorts of very diverse stories with different casts around the world. And we didn't get that until Chaos Theory came around. And I feel very satisfied from Chaos Theory to scratch that itch. But with this one, because the way movies work, they'll want Scarlett, Mahershala, and Bailey. They want them back. So we've got to follow these characters, right? That's going to happen. But I can't remember what show it was. I think it could have been the Outpost crew. They were talking about what some other fan had like posted, and I can't get the idea out of my head, where it was like, what if this film, it literally picks up exactly where Rebirth left off, and it's them trying to get out of the government restricted zone and get the samples back to the mainland in time. And then you can have all sorts of stuff with like military being involved, there being standoffs there, the Mosasaurus, the Spinosaurs could come back in. And then it feels like there's a better excuse for them to be on Ile Saint-Hubert a bit more, because I feel like, I think a lot of fans do, it was a really cool island, but the way the film was edited and what we got in the final cut, we didn't get to explore enough of the facilities of like what they were doing there, whether it was a Jurassic Park or Jurassic World era or both. There was so much left. And like the D-Rex, like what's going on with the D-Rex? It's still alive. And like, I feel like, there's the whole kind of meme now where it's like, in the public, they're like, they go back to the dinosaur island. And this one would really feel like, why would you go back? There's a big, nasty creature there. There's so many reasons not to go back. I can't imagine there being like a good reason, if it's set a few years on, for them to go back and explore more of the D-Rex. So I do like that idea that it picks up directly. You can bring all the cast back. It feels organic. You can have Dolores in it. She hasn't died yet of a frostbite or whatever, and you can just pick up. I really like that idea. Because otherwise I'd find it hard to kind of think, why would this crew get back together to go to another dinosaur island? That's kind of where I am.
Yeah, I think that would be a fantastic idea. The only problem is like they would have to film that absolutely right now, because like Audrina is going to get too old for this. Like you can't have gone from one island to mainland, and she's now 14. Like I don't know how old she was in the other movie, but like you got to film this ASAP and make her seem younger, I guess. But like it's going to be difficult if they do want to do that. But that is probably like a great idea, and you could maybe tap into some of those ideas from the novels of like mainland, like dinosaurs getting over there. And I mean, they talked about how they're in these equatorial regions anyway. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, there would be a lot of really like fulfilling things in there. But like at that same time, I do want to go back to the other island. Whether general public wants to do that, I don't probably not. But like I do want to
Yeah.
see, I want to get these answers. But like we might have to wait for like DreamWorks Series 3 or something to get those kind of answers.
Yeah.
You know,
Or
I don't
Jurassic
know.
World Rebirth Survival.
But you actually had the chance to like go to some of these places, right? Like tell me about that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I've actually just gotten back from a big trip that me and my wife did to Southeast Asia. We were very lucky to be able to do this because, as I've said, we've just moved across the world. We saved up some money and did like a dream trip a bit, basically before we start getting back into work. So I felt very lucky to do that. And as part of that, we went to Thailand. And I walked around to a few places where they actually filmed Rebirth, which was really cool. Like, just for context, we were doing other stuff, but it was like, oh my god, if we just spend a day here, we can literally be where Ile Saint-Hubert was like filmed. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really it was incredible. We did a few sites. I know there's a guy out there, I don't know what his company's called, but he does actually offer tours to the Jurassic filming locations, but we just didn't really have time for that. But so we kind of pieced it together ourselves. But the first place we went to was called Koh Kradan, which is a small island in the south of Thailand, and it's home to a place called Sunset Beach. And this is the beach in which the Essex crashes onto and where the Spinosaurs are. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this is literally it here. Yeah. So yeah, I took some of the captives figures from the movie and posed them in the places where they would have lived. So yeah, you can see why they picked this place to film. Like
Yeah.
standing on this beach truly felt like the Lost World, where like Kathy gets attacked by the compies and stuff. It had that vibe.
Mhm.
What was interesting, and this is something that's going to go for all of the places, is that, and we've seen this with the Reels ILM release in the lead up to the Oscars and stuff, they did a lot of editing of the background to make it look even grander and more rugged. So there are no massive cliffs just beyond this beach. It's quite a low-lying island. So when you're standing on this beach, you do have these cliffs, but they're nowhere near as big as in the movie. They added all that stuff in post, and all of the big rocks out in the ocean, those weren't there either. So yeah, you can kind of see here. Here's the side where the Spinosaur raises out of the rocks here, and yeah. So this was really cool. There was hardly anyone there when we went down there, and even up away from the waterline is where they put that fence where Scarlet like chops through the wires so they can climb up the hill. And that hill that they climb up is actually the hill you climb down to get to this beach. There are some steps in there, but it looks exactly like that kind of swampy jungle thing with all the big roots. And it was really tiring to climb back up because it's as steep as it looks in the movie. This
Oh
is
my
not
gosh.
like a very there's like hotels on the other side of the island, but this isn't a built up area. So yeah, it was really tricky to get down there. But yeah, and we actually came back here later in the day to see the famous sunset because this is called Sunset Beach. And yeah, you could it felt really like in JP1 where you've got all the merch with the sunsets and stuff. It felt very Jurassic here. So that was super cool. Luckily there were no Spinos, so went snorkeling a bit, saw some fish just off the coast. It was awesome.
Were you like a little like I got to look out in the water because there could be, but you came
Yeah.
prepared. You came prepared with these toys. I love that. That is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have this.
Yeah,
one. Do I
I
have
mean,
this
it was the kind of thing like a couple
Oh.
days before, I just chucked them in the luggage, being like, "Oh, that would be a cool idea."
I love that. That's too cool. So this shot that we're seeing here, is that like right where he crashed, like right on those rocks right there? Like, is that supposed to be that
So
same
the
spot?
rocks that he crashed on were actually, if you flick through these, there's another one of the Spino on the rocks, I think.
Yeah. Okay, right here.
There's that one. Yeah, those are the rocks. Those are the rocks that he crashed on. So yeah, I think that's looking south down the beach. So yeah, those are the rocks that he crashed on. They added a lot of rocks to this beach in post as well, to make it look even more rugged than it was in real life. Like, it's crazy the amount of CGI that you don't notice in these movies.
Well, I mean, that's why it was up for an Oscar, I guess. It's hard to
Yeah.
go against something like Avatar: Fire and Ash. I mean, that movie there was no way I think it was going to win, but I think they did a fantastic job of like filling out these sequences. I mean, the entire opening sequence is like all created digitally.
Yeah.
But like I was talking about this with Tom. We've been doing the Monarch season 2 recaps, and like filmed in like similar-esque kind of locations, and it's just like I think that show did a good job of like, as far as I can tell, not necessarily like making it look like the most otherworldly locations, where Jurassic like made this look like, whoa, this looks like Skull Island when it already looks so cool.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it feels like they went too far in some places. So another place I went to later in our holiday was in Vietnam, and it was basically a valley where they actually filmed Kong Skull Island.
Oh, yeah.
And we went on a kayak through there, and it was overcast. You know, when the clouds are they're hiding the tops of the mountains. It feels very Isla Nublar in that way. And we had those experiences in Thailand, in Krabi, which I've got some pictures of as well with the T-Rex and stuff, the T-Rex figure, where it was overcast and had that Jurassic kind of aesthetic to it. And then in the Clips ILM release, like when they did the Titanosaur shot, it was like that. And then they made it all sunny with massive cliffs. And it's a shame that they didn't just trust in the natural landscapes, because they are truly breathtaking. So this T-Rex, I took this photo on a place called Klong Roots Clearwater Canal, which is in Krabi. Now, fun fact, we went here because we knew that they filmed the kayaking, well, the bit where the Delgados are coming through the river on the raft in the sunset portion of the movie at the end. But when we got here, it was like 7 a.m. There was literally no one else apart from us kayaking along this river. And the way the sun was rising, it really felt like being in a prehistoric swamp. There was like, you could see through the water, it was super clear. This photo's from a little bit later in the morning, but there's all these roots poking out. That big tree on the left is the one that big weird frog amphibian thing crawls down in the foreground of that shot, where it shows them going down the river. So we came here for that.
Wow.
But at the very end of this whole like open section, you go through a jungle, and it's actually where they filmed the scene where the crew are kind of hiking through that swamp where there's that weird tentacle monster. So not only did we get this cool prehistoric feeling experience with all these mountains around us, we then went straight through the swamp that they filmed that scene in Rebirth. And like we kayaked past, and I was like, pretty sure that's the tree that Jonathan Bailey leans against for that scene where he like berates Krebs and stuff. And then I looked up, like there was no signal there, of course, but when we were back at the hotel, I looked up, I was like, oh yeah, that was the tree.
That's amazing. I love this like portion of the film. Like I think it's probably in the third part of my conversation with Caleb. It's just like such a beautiful moment in the score. It's and the lighting and everything. It looks so interesting in that sequence. So that's so cool to be able to have kayak down that same exact spot. I can't believe that. And to be the only ones, like that is so cool. Oh man, I'm like,
it was crazy.
I want to travel like again.
Yeah, I get it was because we were literally there for opening, and the way like a lot of business works in Thailand is that you've got competing kind of companies. So there was like 5 companies doing kayaks, so they're all trying to haggle for you, and we just kind of went for the one close to us because we could see there was no one out there yet. So we're like, let's just get out on the water. But then by the time we came back, there was like a few hundred folks that were like really nice folks from all over the world. So there was actually, because the water was so shallow with all these roots, there was like a couple that were from China had actually gotten stuck on their kayak. So we went over to them and like kicked their kayak so it would get unstuck. So it was like really being like in the middle of like a Jurassic Island in that way. But that scene reminded me more of Jurassic World, where you've got tourists kayaking past like dinosaurs and stuff, you know.
You went on your very own Cretaceous cruise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we've got I know you've got a few more pictures here. You've got where should I go next?
Go for the Quetz one, actually. That was an interesting one. The Quetz scene wasn't filmed in a cave in Thailand because they made a whole temple. But this was on one of the islands we were visiting. and it was insane. Like there's all those mountains you see in the background of Rebirth, and you find all across that kind of southern area of Thailand. They're all made out of limestone, which is a rock that gets worn down quite easily by wind and water. So a lot of them have hollow caves through all of them. So we just went to go to this rock, which was like a lookout. Little did we know it was like a massive cave that you climb through inside. And we came to the top, and there was all these like gaps and openings. It literally felt like being in a pterosaur nest. So this isn't the cave where they filmed the wet scene, because that was on the studio backlot. But if you look at that picture with the opening behind, it has the exact same. We were really high up. That was about 50 meters above like ground level. You know, the jungle's coming all the way up. So this was really high up, and it was a big spacious kind of area inside. I don't think I've got any photos on there of what actually the cave looked like. These are all just obviously of a very small figure in the corners of the cave. But yeah, it was really big, and standing in there really did feel like being in a quet's nest. So I just like, luckily enough, I had my figures on me, and I was just like, yeah, this is a perfect place to take pictures of this guy. Yeah, really, really cool. I can't help but think that these caves were definitely used by the artists to kind of shape the one they made for the movie.
Yeah, I could definitely see how that would be the case. I mean, it looks like that outside of having like ancient kind of architecture right there, it totally looks like that kind of landscape for sure. And it's giving like that moment where like the Delgados and what's his name, Xavier's like climbing up to that spot, and there's like just a cool look.
Yes,
still get the structure of the cave and stuff. Even though a lot of that's probably like digitalized in the movie, because there's like it almost looks like Pandora when he's looking outside of that cave opening.
Yeah, true. So funny story about that. We went there. We went to that cave where they climb up. Now, you're absolutely right. When you look out the top of that cave, there aren't these weird kind of rock bridges across the island.
Yeah.
Because that is very much an ILM thing. But we did go to that cave, and it looks exactly how it does in the movie when they're climbing up, massive and cavernous. We went there on a boat, and this was in Krabi, so it's like quite a built-up town, and there's a river alongside of it, and you can see these big mountains. It takes only about 10-15 minutes to get there on like these small boats. So we're getting the boat down, and we get off the boat at the dock, and I was like, to go see this cave from Rebirth. I was like, this dock, this is crazy. This looks a lot. This feels like it should be on like Ile Saint-Hubert. Like it feels like the Rebirth dock. And so we go in, we see the cave, and then we come back out, and I'm just like the boat driver's waiting for you. I'm like, this is crazy. This feels exactly like the one from Rebirth, but like I didn't consider if it could be. Because it was just a normal public dock. Like tourists were getting off and going into the caves and stuff. But it was. So like if you go to the D-Rex photos, this is the D-Rex figure on the exact dock where they filmed the scene where the D-Rex chases Duncan into the water. And we just completely stumbled across it on the way to somewhere else. It was absolutely insane. It was, what gave it away is you can see in the background of this, and you can see it in the other photos, there's these big light stands, and they have this yellow trim and the hazard kind of tape around the whole dock. I think the third photo is like a wider shot of the dock as well. So yeah, approaching that, it was just like, yeah, that looks familiar with the yellow trim and stuff. And yeah, it was the exact one, which was nuts, because I remember this was one of the first images that was like, do you remember it went viral where there was like a gas pump on this dock with like an InGen logo? And people were like, oh, this has got to be photoshopped. Like, why would InGen be in this film? And I was one of them. I was like, that's like as if we're getting InGen. Little did I know. But yeah. Also a funny story about this place is, as with a lot of Thailand, there are tons of monkeys and macaques around. So I was posing my D-Rex here, and then my wife was like, oh, you've got company. And then on my right, there was a monkey just edging closer and closer, looking at the D-Rex figure. Until it got about a meter away, and I snatched the figure up, and he gave me the most offended look ever. He definitely wanted to take that D-Rex and like eat it or something.
Yeah. It's okay, little buddy. You don't need to eat that plastic. I'm saving your life. Trust me.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's wild, man. That is.
So yeah, I was under time pressure to get these shots.
Yeah, I can imagine. But that dude, and that you mentioned like the fact that was like the first thing that we see, or one of the first things we see from this movie. It felt like I don't know if it was the first thing, but we saw that field like over and over and over and over again. But when we saw
Oh
this
god,
doc,
yeah.
it was like we had like a logo and different stuff to kind of like theorize about. It was like such a cool thing to, and I was completely wrong. I feel like with all the theories that I was giving, like about Duncan and stuff like that, I was like I was way off base with that, but because I definitely thought he was gonna like backstab the crew, and no, turns out no, that's not the case. But dude, I mean, like that is incredible to have like stood there and like you just because I've gone play. I actually was just showing my son again when we were scrolling through the videos. I was driving in California, and we were driving like near the Griffith Observatory, and I'm like this tunnel that we're coming up on, it's very familiar. And then like looked it up, and it was the exact same tunnel
Wait.
from Back to the Future, and I'm like, of course, like this, I
Oh,
knew this
yeah.
tunnel looked familiar. Like Back to the Future is the best, and I'm like, I know this tunnel like the back of my hand, and I'm like, except for the fact that it's like way longer in the movie, I'm like, it's something familiar. And yes, you have to trust your instinct when it comes to stuff like that, like a tree
Yeah.
in the middle of the water. You're like, that's definitely the tree. Like I know that's the tree.
Yeah, yeah. I've had that a few times. Like I mean, I guess I was saying, oh, we just happen to be around here. Actually, no. I've done I've gone to see quite a lot of Jurassic filming locations. I did I did Hawaii in 2019. I was actually like lucky enough. I was I was getting a flight between Australia when I last lived here to see a friend in Canada, and the stopover was in Hawaii, and it was a 13-hour stopover. So I actually had enough time to go on a tour to Kualoa Ranch and see the Gallimimus Valley and the Gyrosphere Valley and all of that stuff, which was awesome, a like mind-blowing experience. But then like also last year I was visiting my family over in Ireland, and we were out in a place called Wicklow, which is outside of Dublin, and there was specifically
Mm.
there's this big manor house and like gardens called Powers Court House. And I was like looking at the redwood trees, and they were like, oh, these were the redwood trees that were brought over like from California like over 100 years ago. And I was like, wait a second, Battle Big Rock was filmed in Ireland. So I looked it up. It was where they filmed Battle at Big Rock. We just happened to be there,
Yeah.
and it was like a stand-in for California because it has the same trees that were brought over there. So it's happened a few times.
That part of Ireland, like I was there in 2019, and I was so close to it. I'm like, should I just go over there? I know it's like
No
right there.
way.
I didn't go, but man, I missed it by that much. But instead, I went to Skellig Michael Island, where like they filmed the
Oh,
Force Awakens
yeah,
the Last Jedi.
gorgeous.
So I did that instead. Got it. There's
So
something
worth it.
we're obsessed, right, with like seeing these places that
Yeah.
we have to go way out of our way. You're climbing through the jungle, and I was going all the way out on like a boat, feeling seasick just to go out to this island. So yeah,
Yeah.
there's man,
Oh, we're committed to the fandom.
I know. Anything else that you visited that was interesting? I know there was another picture or so with the raptor, right? I don't know if that was a specific spot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes. So this one, this is actually. So I mentioned earlier about that climb through the
oh yeah,
jungle
yeah.
to get to that beach. I took this photo on that climb, so you can see the trees in the background there. Yeah, with the route. So that's the kind of route that you get. Look, it's so dense. And to be honest, I was rewatching Rebirth earlier before this conversation, and I was just feeling so bad for Krebs. Like I know he's a bad guy, but like he's wearing a full on business shirt and trousers in this jungle. This I was not dry the entire time I was in that jungle.
Oh,
It's humid, it's hot, and like I can't imagine wearing what he was wearing in that condition. I was in shorts and vests. But we did go through. There's a national park as well, quite close by to where the D-Rex photos were in Krabi, and that's where they do. There's some scenes of the crew hiking through, like with the helicopter hanging there, of like the Delgado sleeping, and the where Henry Loomis falls from the Quet's nest. There's like a few waterfalls around there, so we hiked around that area as well. So that was cool. Like it was, I wasn't like aware of exactly where the cameras were set up, but once again, like you don't need to have watched the film to really feel like you're on a Jurassic Island when you're in these places. Like, there are so many places we went to that weren't in Rebirth, but I was like, damn, I feel like I'm on Eyes the Sauna or something, because it's just, that's what the tropics are like. And if I feel really lucky to have been able to experience that, but I would hate to be chased by any sort of creature through that environment, because I would be out of breath and sweating within a few minutes. I would not make it.
So, like, what kind of dinosaur would have been native to that area? Is there anything that like specifically comes from around there? Or?
Yeah, there is actually. So Thailand, they actually have, I think it's about 13 dinosaur species have been discovered in Thailand, which is really cool. Like, um, historically, like all the most famous dinosaurs that we know about, with exceptions like Velociraptor, have all been from what we call like the global north or western countries, because paleontology basically becomes a thing when a country industrializes, people are digging up the ground for
Mm,
other reasons, and they start finding fossils. So Thailand, has been through a bit of that process in the past 50 years. So now they're starting to find their own fossils. So there's some sauropods that have been found, some smaller, kind of more nimble, like we saw that photo of the Hypsilophodon earlier, like kind of ornithopods
yeah.
like that as well. And then a few bones from some carnivorous theropods as well. There is a Thaisaurus, believe it or not. But yeah, there's quite a few dinosaurs found in Thailand. There is also the neighboring countries of Cambodia and Laos. There's some dinosaur fossils have been found there. If I had I had like a diary on me, and I love drawing dinosaurs and stuff in there, and I do a dinosaur for every country I visit. And I kind of cheated because I chose a dinosaur that was discovered in Laos instead, which was kind of like a baryonyx with like a long snout. I'm pretty sure Mattel's made it before. It's called Siamosaurus. It looks a bit like a Spinosaurus when Mattel made it. But yeah, there would have been dinosaurs walking around that area, which is something you can't say for Hawaii, where they filmed the other islands,
Hmm.
because that's a recent volcanic island chain. But yeah, where Thailand and all those countries are now, there would have been dinosaurs, which is really cool. So not only are the kind of the areas they're getting tourism because of Jurassic World Rebirth, but also they can then point to their real world dinosaurs and keep talking about dinosaurs with folks, which is really cool. Just on that note, actually, about tourism, one of the first places we visited were those small islands I mentioned, and one of them we went past. We didn't actually go there. Was the one where they filmed the 2001 film The Beach with Leonardo
Oh my
DiCaprio.
God.
They had to close that place for years because
Hmm.
tourists went there and they ruined it basically. And even on the
Yeah.
film production, they planted a bunch of trees that weren't native, and it kind of ruined the beach. Like literally the beach from the beach, they ruined it by
Yeah.
making the movie. And so I know that like the production team for Rebirth did a really they made it a really key thing with the Thai government to not leave sites like wrecked and ruined. And a lot of the other iconic sites, like the where the T-Rex chases the raft, and like the Sauropod Valley, those are actually on like private lands that aren't
Hmm.
accessible to tourists, to kind of help protect them and stuff. So I think it's well worth kind of bearing in mind with these films, is that when you've got so much kit and production crew, it does take a toll on the local area. And I think by the looks of it, they've done a really good job with this production. I've no idea how they got all the cameras and stuff to that beach. Like, I feel so bad for the crew that had to trek through that jungle with all the cameras.
I know. I was gonna say, like, you experienced it firsthand. Like, it must have been wild to kind of see how you could set up a production in a place like that. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like, it's
it would have been
wild.
so hard. Yeah,
Well, I mean, we saw so
yeah.
much
I
behind the
almost
scenes
think they
before
must
they
have put
started,
stuff on
even.
floats or boats.
Yeah, yeah. I guess
Yeah,
they
true,
probably did. They
true.
trekked through jungles. They brought stuff in on boats, and unreal, unreal. And it's like kind of wild that they like movie 7, right? That they're just like, yeah, we can still do this, and they're not just like, let's just go to the back lot and do everything. It's
Yeah,
cool that they were able to do that, get it as real as possible, despite changing it, tenfold after the fact. But like, at least they had those ground level scenes and stuff that we see is like, it's real, it's there, and you experience it.
yeah.
That's too darn cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's really well, I'm sure, I don't know what it's like being an actor, but I'm sure it really helps if you're actually in a jungle, in a swamp, pretending to be scared of a dinosaur rather than on
Yeah.
a green screen background. I'm sure that helps a lot. So yeah, it would have been an
would
incredible
assume.
experience for the cast and crew, I imagine. Yeah.
Well, I know we've been talking for a while, and despite computer issues at the beginning, so let's wrap it up here because I have one last thing I want to do with you. So since I don't know if you saw, but we're in the Site B segment, and we're doing things a little bit different. I wanted to return to an old segment, and I want to do old segments that I used to do. So I'm gonna do a rapid fire. I haven't done one of these in a little while.
Okay.
And I don't know
Oh,
when the
okay.
heck the last time I did it, but typically it's like a 60-second rapid fire questionnaire. And I don't know, I've got a ton of them here. I don't know how many I'm going to be able to get through. But just answer yes or no, or give me a little, quick answer to whichever one, and we'll see.
All right, I'm ready.
We'll see how you stand, at the end of it. All right, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1. Park or world?
Park.
Feathers or no feathers?
Feathers.
Grant or Loomis?
Grant.
Sarah Harding or Ellie Sattler?
Sarah Harding.
Giacchino, Desplat, or Davis?
Oh, Desplat.
Tostito Don or Pepsi-saurus?
Pepsi-saurus.
Spinosaurus or T-Rex?
A T-Rex.
Joe Johnston or Colin Trevorrow?
Colin Trevorrow.
Mattel or Kenner?
Kenner.
Are Muldoon's socks high enough? Yes or no?
No, they need to go up to his pants. His underwear, sorry.
JP, Jeep. Oh, there we go. End of it. We just hit the end. Dude, fantastic. I tried to get through as many as I can. I'm like skipping through my list. There's like a ridiculous amount that I was trying to hit some like fun ones, but like I love that. And we get quick insight into how you really feel about this franchise.
Yeah. Oh my god, the Sarah Harding one was an interesting because I think that just kind of came out. But I was like, yeah, I want to see more Sarah Harding. I feel like we've gotten a lot of Ellie. I want more Sarah Harding.
Exactly. Like nothing against Ellie. Like I think like I talked about it so much, but I feel like she would have been a natural before knowing what the story was. I think for Dominion, she would have been a great addition to that movie. But then when you realize it's all about the plants and the stuff like that obviously Ellie's the better choice there. But like Sarah's got to come back. Come on.
Yeah.
Like I should have asked this one. I always like asking this one, but I always ask, should Kelly have been cut from the team? I'll give you a bonus one. Yes or no?
No, of course not.
No, of course not.
I'd like to see any of her teammates kick a raptor out a window.
We talked about Loomis before too. The final thing here. And one thing that was in my head was like, he messes up the dinosaur stuff a little bit. And I was like, well, maybe it was the school he went to or something like that. But then we know he studied under Alan. And then we're like, who's really, was Alan not paying attention? Was he? Because he seemed kind of like checked out too, like at the end of it. So maybe he was just not teaching the students well enough.
Yeah, this is in Grant's era where he's just kind of like, he's just bumbling around trying to get back with Ellie. So he's just like giving his students like papers going, just fill that in. And then he gets AI to mark them or something,
I cannot imagine a world where Grant is using AI. He's like, he hates computers and he's going to be the guy that's like, ChatGPT, please do this for me.
No, that world is a nightmare for Grant.
I have somehow like I think I've taken over the Grant of the podcasting community because I can't get any technology to work for me. But I appreciate you being here today. If people want to find you around the web, whatever you're doing, where can people find you to talk about dinosaurs with you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like at Conor Ontology on Instagram is mainly where I am now. Of course, listening to DINO DNA on the Jurassic Park Podcast. I don't use X anymore. That place is a horrible place. But you can also catch me in some servers on Discord and stuff under the same username. I've got a Blue Sky account as well. Can't lie, don't know when the last time I checked it was. But yeah, no, definitely mainly on Discord and Instagram, Conor Ontology.
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that hard. Like, this place stinks. I have one of these. I don't really use it, but like, hey, it's there. But I just want to say thank you so much for everything that you've done in producing some incredible conversations. I mean, so many incredible conversations to Steve Rosati and incredible paleontologists, and you've done great work, and given the audience, I think, something that I could never do, and I love that. I love that I can learn stuff. I listen through when I'm editing. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. And by the end of it, I always sing your praises and the the people that you have on, and I can't say it enough. I don't know anything about these things, and I'm glad at least somebody out there does, and can let people know in the spirit of like the way that I really wanted this show to succeed, is to go out there to families, to people who are really interested in the movies, but also dinosaurs. And I like that you can offer that different perspective. And there's a kid out there that's probably listened to your segment, and they want to go and Google something or find out more about dinosaurs, and I think that's pretty awesome. So thank you, dude. Appreciate it.
Of course, that's what it's all about, is just getting people excited and interested in the science as well as the movies. And thank you so much for the platform and being so collaborative and open to all of these ideas and stuff. It's an absolute pleasure, and there's going to be more of it coming along. The franchise has never been more alive, and there's always going to be new dinosaurs to talk about. So yeah, happy to keep doing it, man.
Heck yeah, dude. Can't wait for the next one. We'll see you then, though.
Awesome. Sweet. See you then.
Life will not be contained. Life breaks free, it expands to new territories, and crashes through barriers painfully, maybe even dangerously, but, well, there it is. There it is. I'm simply saying that life finds a way.
That'll do it for another episode of the Jurassic Park Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you for listening and sharing in our love of the Jurassic franchise, and of course, dinosaurs, the thing that really brought us all here to begin with. Whether you know a lot about them or not, whether you're on my side of the fence not knowing much, or Conor's knowing a whole lot, we appreciate every one of you for listening in, and a huge thank you, as always, to Conor for making some time this time around to meet up with me and chat after all of these years. Not meet up with me, we're on the internet, you know how it works. But to chat after all of these years. Our schedules have been impossible to sync up, mostly due to me, because I'm terrible at scheduling things. But I am so glad that it finally happened, and we had a chance to talk about all the things that we love. And I honestly just loved hearing more about his history and learning how he became a fan, and how he stayed a fan after all of these years. So thank you to Conor. This is what it's about. Honestly, having episodes like this, learning about people and their love of the franchise. I love this stuff. So thank you again to Conor. Be sure to follow him at Conor Ontology on all of his social platforms out there, and enjoy everything that he's spreading out into the world. It's good stuff. And of course, you can always hit us up over on Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky to continue those conversations that you heard in this episode. And also be sure to subscribe to my newsletter for all things Jurassic, movies, TV shows, my other podcasts and appearances and everything. Please find the link to the newsletter on JurassicParkPodcast.com/newsletter. Thank you, as always, to our podcast host, Podomatic, for giving us a place to upload the podcast each and every week. Everybody out there, please just know that you matter. Stay safe. That is one of the most important things, as well as being kind to other people out there. Fight for representation, change, and equality in the Jurassic franchise, but more importantly, outside of it, in the real world, where things matter. It's especially needed these days. So let's make sure to make this world a better place, please. I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to myself for the outro. Take it away.
Saddle up! Let's get this movable feast underway.
Continue the conversation with us on Threads and Instagram. Watch our content on TikTok and YouTube. Find us on the web at JurassicParkPodcast.com. You'll find today's episode show notes, articles, contributor bios, and so much more. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, our website, and wherever else podcasts are found. So please be sure to follow along and share with your friends, family, and fellow Jurassic fans. If you haven't already, please give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We will read your Apple reviews at the end of most episodes, so be sure to spare no expense. Don't miss our Wednesday night live streams, toy hunts, reviews, in-depth bonus content, gameplay, event and theme park coverage on our YouTube channel. If you want to get a hold of us or participate in the Jurassic Mailbag, you can fill out the contact form on our website or send emails and MP3s to JurassicParkPod@gmail.com. Feel free to call our voicemail line at any time to leave us a message or just to say hi. That number is 732-825-7763. Thank you so much for listening, and as always, enjoy.